to have an emotional toolkit as a young child, that's generational wealth right there. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Clueless to Conscious. Thanks for being here. We're excited to have you back, and we are in a different space today.
We took this show on the road.
We're on tour. We're coming to a city near you.
If that city is Palm Springs.
Yeah, if that city is Palm Springs. We're out in the desert today. We have like a little weekend getaway that we're fortunate enough to be filming this podcast to give like a little visual interest. It's so beautiful out today.
It's really beautiful. It's been a gorgeous day.
Yeah.
The sun is out and we needed it.
Yeah, we really needed. I needed the vitamin D.
Seriously.
So much. I feel like the wintertime is genuinely like my hibernation period, which I think that it's like that makes sense because as mammals we should be kind of like in alignment with Mother Nature.
And it's a time to like reflect and go inside yourself, see, what seeds you want to plant in the spring, what things you want to grow.
I love that.
Yeah. It's a good time in its own right.
Yeah.
But we needed a little boost, a sunshine.
Yeah, we need a little break from all the all that
the darkness.
I was trying to make it
depth.
I was trying to use a word that wasn't like rooted in darkness, like the shedding, like I needed.
Yeah. It's not a bad time at all.
Yeah.
It's just a different energy.
Yeah, it's a different energy for sure. So today we want to talk about belief systems. I feel like this has been a really big theme for both of our lives is belief systems because it's really helpful to understand your belief systems in order to change and like grow into the person that you want to be or you innately are. So that's the theme of
that's
today's
what we're talking
show.
about. So
What
do you think of a belief or a belief system? What is that to you?
The belief that you hold is how you think, how you act, how you feel, how you react to situations. That's all dependent upon your belief system. And once you can kind of like tap into what your beliefs are, what your definitions of different aspects of your life are, then you can better change them and then change by default how you react, how you think, how you act, talk, etc. So that's how I think of belief systems. It's like truly a belief about, everything, and that dictates your personality and your reality. But how do you like define a belief system?
I think of it similarly. And I think, first of all, like a belief system is, or like even a belief is something that we are absolutely certain about.
Mm-hmm.
And a belief system, it's kind of like a framework of how you view something. Like I think identity is a big belief system, your identity, or it's also just shapes like how I treat people, the reality that I'm seeing pretty much, because especially with identity, I have a belief about what my identity is.
Yeah.
Some parts of that may be good, some parts of that may be detrimental to my life. Beliefs basically shape how we view the world and also how we experience everything.
Yes. I've said so many times, our belief systems truly shape our reality. And so that's why I believe that everyone is truly living their own reality,
Yeah.
And sometimes when I say that, it's kind of triggering to people because they're in the mindset of like that we're all kind of like living one reality, but we're really not.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not living one reality. Because how you were raised, the environment that you grew up in, the people that you surround yourself with too, like, can impact how you view the world and how you view yourself. You are actually, taking in so much information about your parents' reality and taking that on as your reality because that integrates into your belief system, right? Like, how I like to think of it too is almost like a computer system,
Yeah.
Like our belief system kind of acting as a computer system. Like, I'm installing all these beliefs, these definitions of like, okay, telling ChatGPT like this like coding of like, okay, when I think this thing is valuable to me, and when I do this happens. Like, just all, like you said, like a framework, which when you know how to hack that framework can literally, you can hack your life,
Yeah.
and change your life and change how you view other people. Because yeah, I don't think that we need to stay, like, if you're not happy with something, then you do have the potential to create a new reality, right?
Yeah,
And by
definitely.
helping you create a new reality can be literally changing your belief system.
Whatever our belief system is or our identity is, we do everything in our power, like mentally, to act in line with that. So if I
Yeah.
think that I'm incapable of doing
Wait, hold
XYZ
it. Yeah.
things, I'm incapable of doing that, then my actions are gonna reflect that. What I do, like what I think, is gonna reflect that. Like if I think, oh, I'm a poor person and I can never be wealthy, like it's gonna be really uncomfortable to think I can be wealthy. I can have abundance in my life. Like, it's going to be uncomfortable to think because that's not in line with my belief system.
Yep.
And so then achieving that is like, it's really hard if that's not part of your belief system.
100%.
I think a lot of people don't even know
Yeah.
what they believe
Yeah.
about themselves and the world. So I think that's a really important first step, is just like figuring out, what do I believe? Like, what is my reality showing me that I believe about myself and the world around me?
And what's like a first step that we can do to kind of break down what our belief systems are?
What I've been doing,
Yeah.
and I think it's really helpful, is doing just like some thought observation, even just like 10 minutes a day. And you just sit, let your thoughts come, take mental note. What came up? And then after I finish my whatever period of time I've allotted for that, I observe my thoughts and then I journal. And then, okay, I had this story come up, this story come up, and this story come up. And I might not see something jumping out that first day. I'm just writing the stories right now. And then eventually, maybe it is that first day, maybe it's after a few days or a week, I start to see some patterns.
Yeah. They really start to jump out at you once you even have that little like inkling of, awareness of a certain belief. I truly think that like the universe starts to push you along that route to bring you like more synchronicity so that you can really,
Realize.
realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of noticed that when I started seeing some patterns in my thoughts. And then I was like, I would notice a thought and be like, I know what that's about. Like, I know
Yeah.
what that is now. Because I used to think that, oh, a lot of my thoughts are neutral. I'm having these pointless thoughts that are just running through my mind all day. But that's not true. And for me, a lot of it was like I replay past conversations and I practice future conversations. And I just thought, I didn't think that much about it. But I mean, I guess it was more obvious to me in the past replay of past conversations. But anyways, eventually I was like, oh, I think that this might be related to me feeling like I'm not enough because I'm replaying the past conversations because I wish I could have express myself better to give a more accurate representation of what I was thinking or feeling, or so I
Yeah.
sounded smarter, or so I did something. And then practicing future conversation is basically the same thing. I want to make sure that I come off like how I'm trying to, that I
Exactly how
sound
you want.
smart, that
Yeah.
I sound whatever. And I started to realize, oh, all of these, it's like a trillion thoughts, but I've narrowed it down to this one category of like me trying to prove that I am enough.
Yeah.
Or trying to at least not maybe prove that I'm enough, because I'm not sure I believe that at this point, but like to show, or like other people will view me as enough, you
Yeah.
know? So I think, yeah, just becoming aware of what's going on in your brain, and then starting to see, and then asking questions about
Yeah.
those things. Like, what are the common threads here? What is this?
Yeah.
Why is this keeping coming up? What's
Mhm.
behind this? Like, and then you can start to see some of your beliefs.
I love when things are dumbed down, you know, like
Yeah.
just dumb it down, make it as simple as possible. And the kind of like framework that has helped me in the thought observation has been like you said, observing a thought. Okay, something comes up and it feels like a limiting belief, right? Like it's something that is not rooted in love for myself or others. Okay, so that's usually considered a limiting belief or a negative belief, right? It's not elevating me, it's
Mhm.
bringing me down, which is the negation part of it. And so I'm aware of this thought, and then I feel it, and I feel it, and I give the message the like appreciation that it needs, because anytime something negative that we feel about ourselves comes up, it's just an invitation for us to be like, okay, I see you. Like, I understand why you're here and you're not
Mhm.
bad. You know, a negative
Yes.
doesn't mean that like bad, 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 like get away from me. I don't know. Stop, stop. Don't think this way. Like,
And that
which I used to
makes it
do.
that makes it bigger. Like,
It makes
by
it
suppressing
bigger.
it, you're giving it
You're giving it
energy.
more energy and more energy to be like, no, no, get away, get away, get away. That's not how energy works. It's gonna grow and store.
Yeah.
So what doesn't get like recognized just gets stored basically. So, anyways, thought comes up, you acknowledge it, you accept it for what it is, and acknowledge like, okay, you're serving some type of purpose in my life, whether it just be for me to recognize that you don't serve a purpose in my life. So that's two. Step two. Feel it. Feel it. Feel like the uncomfortableness, like feel the
Mhm.
unworthiness, feel like the lack of perfection, just like feel that uncomfortableness. And then three, reflect on why that's completely irrational, basically, and why it's illogical, or why like it doesn't really it's not really, I don't want to say helping, but why, yeah, it's just not serving you.
Mhm.
Um, and then once you kind of like, you actually dive deep into the root of the problem, it usually will, dissipate. It'll dissipate because it no longer has like control over you. I have an example too, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I have a good example, yeah. So I was feeling really heavy about like a relationship that I was in. And I was kind of like getting really frustrated over, yeah, I was getting really frustrated over this like relationship that I was in. And I was talking to someone else about it. And they were like, well, I feel like that person doesn't respect you.
Oh.
Yeah. They're like, "I feel like this person doesn't have, like, a lot of respect for you, and that's why you're just feeling, like, so frustrated because you're like, why are they behaving this way? And I'm trying to act with love and whatever, or, show up with love." And, yeah, so he said, "I feel like this person doesn't respect you." And that was, like, really heavy because I thought, "Okay, so what is my belief system, like, in this moment? Like, why am I allowing this disrespect, or why am I attracting this disrespect, or why is this happening basically? So I really like sat with that feeling of like not feeling loved, you know, feeling unlovable, feeling like alone, you know, feeling not like appreciated, just all of those, how that made me feel, how this relationship made me feel. And I sat with it and I was literally just like, you know, crying and crying. And then I asked for why, like, why, what belief do I hold? Basically, what limiting belief do I hold to experience this or have this a part of my reality? And the message that I got, like clear as day, was that I have a belief that in order to keep relationships, um, in order to keep a relationship, that I have to tolerate a certain amount of disrespect. And I know that sounds really simple, but the fact that I like laid it out word for word, this is a belief that I've held my entire
Yeah.
life, was really powerful for me because I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That was something that I truly believed within relationships, that I have to tolerate disrespectful behavior to keep the peace, to make sure that that person doesn't leave me. Um, and if I actually like stood up for myself, I would be alone, basically. You know, I would be left alone.
Yeah.
And that was scary, right? Because these beliefs, these negative beliefs are rooted in fear, right? It's just fear.
Yeah.
It's it's all fear. So that was really enlightening. And then again, I went to the steps that I mentioned earlier and was like, okay, how is this illogical? You know, like, how does this not make sense? Because if I want to live a life of love, then that's not very loving to myself,
Yeah.
you know, that I'm just gonna tolerate any
Yeah.
disrespectful behavior just because I'm afraid that the other person will leave me, you know? And so I really had to like dive deep into that and then be like, okay, this is illogical because people who truly love me will meet me where I need them to meet me, and if they don't, then they might not deserve to be in my life, you
Mhm.
know? And that's scary, but it's something I need to show up with respect, respect myself,
Yeah.
to attract, right, other people that respect me.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, so I, whatever, told myself that, like, hey, even if we lose this person, we have other people in our lives who respect us, you know? And even if we're alone, that is so much better than being with someone that like does not love
It's
you in the way,
disrespecting
yeah,
you.
disrespecting you. And I cried and I cried and I cried and had that aha moment. And then I felt like that was a really big shift for all of my relationships, not that one. It was like
Yeah.
every single relationship after that, I was really assessing of like, I actually started to like detach too from people that I'm like, wait, they do not respect me. Like, you know? And so I started to
Yeah.
detach, to be like, you're not going to respect me. Okay, I'm going to show respect for myself, you
Mhm.
know? And then I actually noticed that like then people started to elevate themselves to meet me where I now was,
Yeah.
which is just another confirmation too that anything that you do really that's showing yourself love always ends up being what's best for everyone else, because now I'm holding other people to a higher standard. They either have to match it or
Mhm.
they risk losing a relationship with me. And I have
Yeah.
to believe that having a relationship with me is amazing too, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
It is.
you know? So, yeah, that was a big one. The respect aspect.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that is a big one. And it just shows, because that belief it's not in one relationship. It's your
Yeah.
whole life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think also, like, when you are analyzing your beliefs, like, once you know what your beliefs are, you can say, because usually even from a negative belief, you're getting something
Yeah.
out of it. Like,
It's benefiting you in
it's
some way.
benefiting you in some way. So you can say, like, okay, these are the benefits of this belief. Like, maybe I'm getting pity and that's helping me because I think I'm a failure, but then people say, oh no, you're not. And then that attention or that feels good. And or I'm able to predict what's going to happen because I'm telling myself I'm a failure, and that keeps happening every time, and I can predict that. And that might make you feel comfortable. But once you analyze, like, okay, what this belief is doing for me, you can analyze how it's not serving me.
Yeah.
And you can choose, do I want to keep this belief or do I want to change this belief?
True.
And I'll just speak for myself, but I would say that most of my beliefs aren't helping me.
Yeah.
Most of the beliefs that I just, were automatic, like, beliefs are kind of habit in a way, because it's a habitual way that I see the world, and I don't think about it anymore. It's gone into my subconscious mind. Yeah. So once you become aware of it, you can, decide. You have more control at that point to decide what you want to do with that. But I think for a lot of us, there's probably more limiting beliefs than there are beneficial beliefs.
Yeah.
So we probably, I know I want to change most of mine.
Well, because we talked about too in the episode we did about love, where we're under the belief system too that we are love, right? That like we are made up of what is that? God consciousness, a loving energy, right? So when you think about limiting beliefs, those are actually not they're not rooted in love, So a limiting or a negative belief is actually not who you are innately. And when
I'm misperceiving the world.
Yes.
And
yeah.
acting according to that misperception. But I can correct that and see and experience the loving, abundant universe that does exist.
Yeah, exactly. Because and also if you have a belief that the world is bad and that the world is crazy and everyone's out to get you or like everyone has like bad intentions, then you're going to create a reality where that's a lot of what you see. Not saying that like you're going to create, bad people to hurt you.
Yeah.
But like that's a lot of what you see. And then that's a lot of where you spend your energy and your attention. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yes.
And that's the biggest reason for me that it's like, well, people may say that, my part of my belief systems are delusional, but it's making me feel more happiness and more like, and it's helping me feel more abundance. And if I truly believe that everyone is made up of loving energy, then it just means that all these negative beliefs are actually not ours. They're just messages to help us come into more loving energy or like remember who we are, at our heart.
There's that quote that's whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Ooh. Yeah.
It's just, whatever you believe, you will act according to that. And that's what you will see. And to what you're saying, if you believe that the world is a scary place and you're never going to be able to do the things that you want to do,
And you're gonna create that
Yeah.
reality. It's like actually really uncomfortable to say that because
I know people
I don't because I feel like sometimes people would take that as like, oh, well, we're blaming our
them
them or like we're blaming
they want to blame the outside. Like they want to say, "Oh,
yeah.
it's universal forces. Like I've just been given bad luck
Yeah.
and it's outside of me. It's not my fault because I'm just that way or
Mhm.
whatever." But like
And
you can take responsibility and
yeah,
change.
because you're co-creating this reality, you know? Actually, I was talking to my sister about like generational wealth. And part of, I believe, truly part of generational wealth is actually like the emotional aspect too.
It
Because if you
is.
grow up in a really loving household with parents who have the mindset, have the belief that life is abundant, and you grow up like that, you are already set up for more like success within abundance because you grew up in that environment where that was the
Yeah.
belief. But if you grew up in an environment where everything was difficult, of like it's so hard to be an adult. I have so many responsibilities. Like everything is just bad and the life is
Mhm.
hard and like and I'm unlucky and people are out to get me and the life is whatever. Um if you grow up like that, then you're you carry that
That's going to
belief
be
into
ingrained in you.
yeah, that belief is ingrained into your subconscious, into your belief system. So when you grow older, you are now put like in a position where you have to unlearn all of those things that you have been taught, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember exactly like the numbers or whatever, but I've heard this a couple times, but they were talking about like people on food stamps or like
Mm.
social services like that,
Yeah.
that it's most of the people, it's like a generational thing.
Yeah.
Like, so their parents were on it and their grandparents might have been on it too.
Yeah.
And because that's how they grew up, that's the belief that they were raised on. Like,
Yeah.
it's passed down. Like, just like, we've talked about this in other episodes, but like things that your family dynamics and like what you grow up hearing and seeing and
Mhm.
feeling,
Mhm.
that you adopt that.
Yeah, I think the mainstream definition of that would be like generational trauma,
Yeah, yeah.
Um to be like, maybe your parents grew up in lack,
Yeah.
a lot of lack and feeling like again, everything is hard. So you grow up believing everything is hard, And even if I have like these opportunities, well, I didn't work hard enough to get it, so maybe I don't deserve it. It's really difficult to really get out of that mindset because you have to unlearn everything that you've learned. And one of the ways that you unlearn too is you find evidence to counteract that belief,
Yeah.
right? That's actually a really like helpful thing to change your belief is you find
Mhm.
evidence. Um, but when you've grown up, just also surrounding yourself with people who are not in like an abundance mindset, who are in a lack mindset, it's harder to find those, like, examples.
Yeah.
So you gotta work hard at
God,
that.
I might know some of my beliefs, but like I have to still be awake and think like, oh, there's that thought again. And I have to
Mm,
actively try and correct that
mm.
and say,
There's evidence
yeah,
otherwise.
that's something I believed for a long time, but that is not who I am. And this is what I'm choosing to believe
Mhm.
now. I'll let you know when I when I correct all my beliefs. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but it's
Yeah,
gonna take time. You're not gonna erase your belief and replace it overnight.
right. Yeah, because that's a whole part of this experience on this earth, right? Is to, like, come to more understanding of self and in love. So yeah, I don't think that we're meant to really, like, uncover all of these limiting beliefs overnight.
Yeah, definitely not. And I
Yeah.
heard somewhere that because like I consider these beliefs like habits and
Mhm.
it's what I'm in the habit of thinking.
Mhm.
But I was listening to something and said, don't try and change more than 2 things in your life at a time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm already uncovering a bunch of beliefs, but like,
Yeah.
I can't change them all right now. As much as I would like to say, okay, here, delete, delete, delete.
Mm-hmm.
Enter this, please
Yeah.
replace, find and replace.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work that way. So I'm trying to focus my energy.
Yeah. I think that's a right way to go about it, because this is from personal experience, okay? When you start to change your belief system at a fast rate, I genuinely feel like your ego starts to
Oh
attack.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this is just me, or I know it's not just me, but like when you start to change and release your negative beliefs to come into a positive belief system, your negative beliefs have to work 10 times harder to keep themselves alive. You
Yeah.
know, because they're like, like, believe me, believe me, believe me, please, please. Like, they're
Yes.
like begging you to like hold on to dear life. Please, you need me to keep yourself safe. You know, because if you don't have me, then you don't know what's gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the one that's keeping you in the known and keeping you like in this state of comfort, like an illusion of kind of comfortability, right?
Yeah.
If you're on like a spiritual journey and have come to like a point in your journey where you're just like, oh my God, this is feeling harder, I truly believe it's just because you're on that cusp of
Yeah.
releasing all of that, you know, extra
That energy.
that extra energy that's not serving you. Because
Attachment to those
yeah, the
beliefs.
attachment, yes, the attachment to those beliefs. Our negative beliefs have a chemical signature inside of our body. And so sometimes, like when we release them, we experience crying or some like physical sensation. It could be anxiety too, which is something that I've been experiencing a lot,
Yeah.
is like this anxiety because that chemical signature in your body is trying to like release itself, this extra energy in some way. And so it could come up as like tears, you know, or like shaking or
Yeah.
anxiety. It's just, yeah, extra energy that's trying to move out. So if you're feeling like you're going through a lot right now, emotionally, energetically, it could just be that you were changing so quickly that your body is just trying to keep up with you too.
Yeah.
That could be one thing. If it resonates, take it. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, let it go. And that's it.
Just take it as an opportunity to raise your awareness of what's
Yeah.
going on within you and maybe start looking at your beliefs
Mm-hmm.
or your thoughts in general.
Sit with it.
Sit
Let
with it.
let it come up. Own it. Don't try to
Yes.
push it away or push it down. Just feel it and release it just as quickly as it came up, because it's just looking for attention.
Yeah, give it love,
Give
understanding,
it love
and
and
forgiveness.
understanding and acceptance.
Acceptance.
And because it is kind of funny just how quickly feeling something will just dissipate just as quickly as it came.
I know sometimes, because I've been kind of doing this because I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to accept the emotions that are coming through and show them love and say it's okay that you're here. I understand you. I forgive you. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
But I notice because sometimes when I do that, like it just feels like it goes away right away. And sometimes I'm like,
You're
am
like,
I doing
wait.
it? Or am I no, not like wait because I want you to hang
I know,
out,
get it.
but
Wait, we're just talking.
but like in the
Yeah.
sense of like it feels like it went away so quick, like it almost feels like I suppressed it,
Oh,
But like,
yeah.
am I? But I think it's that quick.
I think it's that quick.
Yeah.
And maybe you're just getting better at that too,
Yeah.
where your body feels safe enough to come up
Yeah.
and exit as quickly.
Like, Yeah, I think so.
Another story about myself, is that I have noticed that the anxiety that like I get is usually just like excess energy, you know? But again, once you start to become more self-aware, I genuinely feel like you have now told your body that you can be trusted with more stuff that wants to come up, because when you go through your whole life suppressing your emotions and they begin to get stored into your body as like aches and pains and disease and sickness and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you're going through a spiritual awakening and you still feel like shit, like you feel like even more stuff, I
Yeah.
genuinely feel like it's because it's a purge.
Yeah, it is.
It
It's
is.
coming to the
It's coming
surface.
to the surface to finally be seen, because they're like, oh my God, Lauren, you finally,
You're finally
yes,
ready for
you're finally
me.
ready. You're finally ready. And that happened to me as when I first started my conscious journey, you know, like maybe 3-4 years ago. I was so incredibly tired. I've always been kind of,
Yeah.
you know, I've always been
Yeah.
tired, but like I was so exhausted and I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is going on? And looking back on it now, what resonates so much more with me was that I was coming out of this like freeze state, genuinely. Like,
Oh,
I was coming
yeah.
out of this like
Yes.
freeze state of like, I can't take in any more, you know, whatever, reality. And I started to thaw out. That's like literally the best way to explain it, is that
Yeah.
I was starting to thaw out, that I started to like literally like all of this energy was coming up to like be purged. Like I was anxiety, like even like watching myself do this, I'm
Yeah.
like I am, yeah, had to go through a period of just like purging. And sometimes that happens, you know,
Yeah.
when you start to awaken and your body actually feels safe bringing up those emotions to you. So don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be
Let it come
scared.
up.
Yeah, just let it come up because it's just coming up to be felt and to be seen, and then let it go. But
Yeah.
anyways, going back to what you were saying, sometimes things do come up and leave just as quickly
Mhm.
because they really just wanted that acknowledgement. And after you acknowledge them, they're like, all right, peace.
Yeah,
Like, I'm good.
exactly.
Got it. I'm out of here. And that's a toolkit that everyone can benefit from. I almost think that they should start incorporating like an emotional intelligence
Oh
course
my
at the start. Wouldn't
God.
that be like
Yes.
amazing? Like
Like
at like
elementary
elementary
school.
school, you literally just have like an hour of like how to sit
Yeah.
with your feelings.
Even like earlier than
Literally
that. Yeah.
earlier than
Because
that.
I had some feelings, some emotions as a child.
Yeah,
And I feel
of course.
like probably would have been helpful if someone was like, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Not just like, that's bad. You're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah. Or that makes other people uncomfortable. So can you not like
Yeah.
get sad in front of other people? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
to have an emotional toolkit as a
Hmm.
young child, that's generational wealth right
Yeah.
there.
And
That truly is.
especially like when you are a young child, because your brain waves, like your
Mm,
still brain isn't fully formed. You're in
you're in a state
alpha,
of
or
trance.
you're in a state of trance. So everything that's coming in, you're just taking as reality, as fact.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like when you're in that state and you're a child and someone's telling you that that's wrong, don't do that, it's hard to differentiate, oh, this action versus me. I'm wrong and
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be
Yep.
that way. So yeah, I think that would be really helpful if there was some kind of learning around that. That
Yeah,
would be really
100%.
good for
Like
a lot of people.
that type of curriculum would change our world.
It literally would, I swear.
I'm like, wait, who do I need to call
Who
up?
do we need to talk to? If anyone is in charge of children education,
Yeah.
email us.
Email us. We will be the advocate for that. We'll go
I'm
straight
sure
to
there
the
must be
White
a lot of
House.
people on that, right?
I know,
It's
that's
it's an
true.
important thing.
I know we're like acting like we just came up with this. Like no one's ever thought of this before. But seriously, I
If
think
you
that would
have
be really important.
any other questions, comments, topics you'd like us to cover, email us at contact@cluelesstoconscious.com.
Yep.
Or comment on this video. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Love you. If you're okay, I wanted to make sure.
I know that bird was okay.
I wanted to make sure that bird was okay because we have like the fire.
Oh wait, I didn't
nosedive.
I didn't think about the fire, but I just heard like a bit of a crash. It's like,
Yeah, what's happening over there? Can you guys see the fire?
wait, yeah, if you lean that way, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sweating a little bit.